The forest loomed around us, a dense thicket of towering trees that seemed to stretch endlessly into the heavens. Rain cascaded from the stormy night sky, drenching the earth and transforming the ground beneath our feet into a muddy quagmire. The rhythmic pattering of raindrops on leaves blended with the occasional crackle of thunder, creating an eerie symphony that underscored the sense of foreboding that settled over our camping expedition. I was with my friends, Ethan, Sarah, and Ryan, on what was supposed to be a weekend of adventure and camaraderie. We had set out with high spirits, eager to immerse ourselves in the beauty of nature and escape the confines of our mundane lives. Little did we know that the forest we had chosen for our camping trip held secrets that transcended the realms of the known. Our journey began on a winding trail that cut through the heart of the woods. The dense canopy overhead provided scant protection from the relentless downpour, and our laughter, initially carefree, was gradually replaced by the subdued murmur of anxiety. The rain distorted our surroundings, turning the once clear trail into a muddy labyrinth that seemed to shift and contort with every step. As the daylight waned, the forest embraced us in its shadowy embrace. We realized, to our dismay, that we had lost our way. Panic set in as we retraced our steps, the trail now an indistinguishable mess of mud and undergrowth. The dense foliage seemed to close in around us, and the once inviting forest became an ominous maze of shadows. "We need to find our way back to camp," Ethan declared, his voice edged with concern. "Before it gets dark, and we're stuck out here in the middle of nowhere." Our attempts to backtrack only led us deeper into the labyrinth of trees. The rain, now a relentless deluge, added to our misery, rendering the forest an impenetrable wall of darkness. The once familiar surroundings became alien, and the forest seemed to conspire against our efforts to find our campsite. As the night descended, we stumbled upon a clearing, a brief respite in the oppressive thicket of trees. Exhausted and disoriented, we decided to set up a makeshift camp and wait until morning to resume our search for the trail. The rain showed no signs of abating, and the clearing offered a temporary sanctuary from the enveloping darkness. Our meager attempt at a campfire struggled against the wet wood, casting feeble shadows that danced along the edges of the clearing. We huddled together, the cold seeping into our bones, as we attempted to salvage what was left of our camping expedition. As the night wore on, strange sounds echoed through the forest, whispers that seemed to drift from the depths of the woods. We dismissed them as the eerie murmurings of the wind, but an uneasy tension settled over our impromptu campsite. The rain continued to fall with a monotonous patter, a relentless companion to the eerie atmosphere that clung to the clearing. In the midst of the night, a distant drumbeat resonated through the woods. The sound, primal and rhythmic, stirred a sense of unease within us. We exchanged wary glances, each of us silently acknowledging the disconcerting presence that lingered beyond the edges of the clearing. Suddenly, figures emerged from the shadows, silhouettes that seemed to materialize out of thin air. They were clad in garments of woven leaves and feathers, their faces adorned with elaborate masks that obscured their features. The forest, with its ancient secrets, had birthed these enigmatic figures, and they encircled our makeshift camp with a haunting grace. I felt a chill run down my spine as the drumbeat intensified, its hypnotic rhythm echoing through the clearing. The figures, seemingly untouched by the rain, moved with an ethereal fluidity that defied the limitations of the mortal realm. Panic gripped our hearts as we realized that we were not alone in the forgotten woods. The figures, members of a tribe unknown to mankind, spoke in a language that resonated with an ancient cadence. Their eyes, obscured by the masks, gleamed with an intensity that hinted at a profound connection to the mystical forces that governed the forest. The drumbeat, a ceremonial heartbeat that pulsed through the night, seemed to synchronize with the rhythm of our own anxious breaths. As the tribal figures closed in, a realization dawned upon us: we were intruders in their sacred domain, unwitting trespassers in a realm governed by forgotten rituals. In the darkness of the forest, our presence had disrupted the delicate balance that the tribe had maintained for generations. The figures gestured toward us, their movements deliberate and ceremonial. We were seized by an unseen force, our attempts to resist proving futile against the supernatural strength that held us captive. Fear clenched our hearts as we were led deeper into the forest, the drumbeat serving as a macabre escort into the unknown. The tribe's village emerged from the shadows, a collection of primitive huts adorned with symbols and markings that spoke of an ancient culture. The drumbeat, now an incessant pulse in the background, reverberated through the village. The rain, unrelenting in its descent, painted a surreal tableau as we were ushered into the heart of the tribe's sacred space. In the center of the village stood an altar, an ancient stone structure stained with the residue of countless ceremonies. The tribal figures, now joined by others from the village, arranged themselves in a ceremonial formation. The drumbeat reached a crescendo, and the forest seemed to hold its breath in anticipation. It was then that a figure emerged from the shadows, a figure adorned in regal attire that marked them as the leader of the tribe. The rain, seemingly reluctant to touch this sacred ground, veered away from the figure's presence. As their gaze fell upon us, a recognition flickered in their eyes, a recognition that transcended the barriers of time and space. In that moment, I realized the truth, a truth that connected me to the ancient tribe in ways I could not comprehend. The leader, with an air of solemnity, spoke in a language that resonated with echoes of the past. It was a language that transcended the limitations of the spoken word, carrying with it the weight of generations and the power of forgotten rituals. As the tribal leader's gaze met mine, a revelation unfolded. I, unbeknownst to myself, carried the bloodline of a family revered by the tribe as the supreme power, an ancient lineage that held a mystical connection to the forces that governed the forest. In the tribe's eyes, I was not an intruder but a descendant, a living link to the forgotten history that bound us to the sacred woods. The realization, though baffling, offered a glimmer of hope. The tribe, recognizing the sacred lineage that coursed through my veins, hesitated in their intentions. The drumbeat, once a harbinger of ominous rituals, now served as a backdrop to the unfolding revelation. Through the tribal leaders' gestures and the fragments of their ancient language that I could grasp, I understood that the tribe had mistaken our presence for a threat to their sacred space. The forest, governed by ancient spirits and mystical forces, had reacted to our intrusion, triggering a sequence of events that had led us to the brink of a sacrificial ritual. In a gesture of conciliation, the tribal leader spoke to the assembled figures. The drumbeat, now a subdued pulse in the background, conveyed a shift in the tribe's collective demeanor. We were released from our restraints, and the tribal figures retreated, their masks concealing expressions that hinted at a mixture of reverence and trepidation. As the rain continued to fall, the tribal leader guided us to the outskirts of the village. The forest, once a realm of uncertainty and peril, now seemed to acknowledge our connection to the ancient bloodline. The rain, a cleansing force, washed away the traces of our captivity, and the drumbeat receded into the background. In the clearing where our makeshift camp had stood, the tribal leader conveyed a message that transcended language and spoke to the heart of our shared connection. We were to leave the sacred woods and carry with us the knowledge that the forgotten tribe existed, guarding the secrets of the ancient forest. With a solemn nod, we ventured out of the village, the rain-soaked earth beneath our feet bearing witness to the encounter with the unknown. The tribal figures, their masked faces illuminated by the flickering light of our fading campfire, watched us with an enigmatic gaze. As we navigated our way through the dense thicket of trees, the forest seemed to part before us, an acknowledgement of the sacred bloodline that coursed through our veins. The rain, now a gentle drizzle, whispered secrets that hinted at the mystical forces that governed the forgotten woods. The night unfolded with a surreal tranquility as we retraced our steps, the trail now discernible amidst the shadows. The rhythmic patter of raindrops on leaves accompanied us, and the distant echoes of the drumbeat lingered in the air. The forest, with its ancient spirits and unseen guardians, bore witness to the revelation that had unfolded within its depths. As we emerged from the forgotten woods, the rain ceased, and the stormy night sky parted to reveal a crescent moon. The forest, now a distant silhouette, held its secrets close, guarded by the enigmatic tribe that dwelled within its heart. In the aftermath of that fateful night, we carried the weight of an encounter with the unknown, a tale of a bloodline intertwined with ancient rituals and the guardianship of a tribe that transcended the boundaries of time. The forest, with its whispered secrets and haunting melodies, lingered in our memories as a realm where the known and the unknown converged. And so, as I reflect on the whispers of the forgotten woods, I am haunted by the realization that some mysteries are meant to remain shrouded in the mists of time. The rain-soaked night, the drumbeat of an ancient tribe, and the enigmatic connection to a bloodline that spans generations, all of these elements converge in a tale that defies explanation, inviting those who dare to venture into the heart of the unknown to listen to the echoes that linger in the forgotten woods.